President, as you saw during your photo op, did deliver the political remarks as was expected. The Deputy President did present, because he's going to be presenting the organizational report in conference. He did make that presentation. The Treasurer General did present the finance report. Just before we went, as we came back, so we presented before lunch. As we came back for lunch, we also received just an update on some of the developments in the country. More importantly, the energy issue. Sure, South Africans out there are as concerned as we are in the African National Congress about the energy crisis. They will want to know what is the position of the ruling party. They will want them to tell them that this is what is being done to permanently attend to all of this. Cadres of the ANC who are deployed in government are also serving in the National Executive Committee, especially those that are deployed to deal public enterprise, who deals with ESCOM as well as energy. The national chair is the Minister of Minerals and Energy, Mineral Resources and Energy, and Comrade Praveen is the Minister of Public Enterprises, which oversees SOEs, including ESCOM. So we did receive a brief on what is happening. The National Executive Committee will reflect on those challenges that are currently being faced by the power utility and pronounce themselves on the decisive actions required by our government so that we can give the people of South Africa certainty that we are dealing with the issue of generation permanently. We are dealing with the issue of energy security across permanently. So as you came in, National Executive Committee members were expected to start that discussion. They've already received a report, we'll reflect on that, and by the time we rise as the NEC, we'll be able to communicate a message that must not just give our people hope, but must also outline the steps that we are undertaking. If there is a single threat to the ANC's hold to power and governance to the people of South Africa, it's this energy issue. We have to deal with it as an urgent priority. It's not something that we need to look at tomorrow. No, we have to deal with it today. The people of South Africa have to know that in the next few months, in the next day, in the next weeks, this is what is being done to attend to the energy crisis. It undermines investment, it undermines economic growth, it undermines the introduction of new industries. The things that we have said we want to do in our own economic recovery plan, some of them won't be able to be achieved and sustained if we do not deal with the energy crisis. So we assist with this matter. It is on the agenda of the Special National Executive Committee. We will be able to communicate to yourselves on the steps that have to be undertaken. And these steps include everything overall: human resources, infrastructure, investment, Zwabzolulu, alles. So all those things are on the agenda of the National Executive. The report of the Integrity Commission would be included as part of the organizational report. To remind you of what the resolution of the 54th, what the resolution said previously on the IC, is that the Integrity Commission will report directly to the National Executive Committee, National General Council, and National Conference. In this instance, we are 7-8 days away from the National Conference. It is only fair and opportune that the Integrity Commission's report forms part of all organizational reports that will be placed before the National Conference. That is the resolution. On all other issues, we have already briefed you. The Treasurer General of the ANC, Comrade Paul Mashatile, who also is in charge of the Secretary General's office, will address a media networking session to be held here in Nasrec on Wednesday from 18 hours. He will use that opportunity to brief and update you on the program of the National Conference, including on critical resolutions taken by the 54th National Conference National Executive Committee, which ends its term next Friday. So if there are issues that members of the media may want to ask about organization, about numerous other issues, that National Executive Committee networking session with the TG would provide that opportunity. The Treasurer General, the Head of Policy, Comrade Jeff Khadebe, the Coordinator of the Secretary General's Office, Comrade Gwen Ramaphosa, will all be there. The TG will give an overall address. Comrade Jeff will deal with the different policy documents that were previously discussed at the National Policy Conference, sent back to structures, including on amendments, constitutional amendments that are most likely to be considered by the National Conference. This includes the possible, that is if conference ratifies, the inclusion of the position of the second Deputy Secretary General, and many others, as well as dealing with the powers of the Integrity Commission, that such powers must be clearly defined in the constitution of the ANC. That includes its own composition as well. The other issue that conference would have to consider is how the National Executive Committee must treat decisions of the integrity, recommendations of the Integrity Committee, whether they are binding and all of that, or whether they could be referred to a subsequent structure. In this instance, the National Conference, being the next body of the ANC that sit, would receive those reports. So we believe that we have done everything else necessary to make sure that on the 16th of December, we are able to kickstart our national conference. And we've done like we've done before. We want to thank the role and interest that the media has taken on the work of the African National Congress, and appeal to journalists that please, on organizational matters, talk to us. We are still here, at least until next week, Friday.